Hello and welcome to Watch Releases Recap for the week of January 3rd until January the 10th, 2025. Let's begin with IWC and their new Pilot Mark 20 Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 Team Edition watch. The 2025 season of Formula 1 is just around the corner, and we're gonna see more of these special editions released from each one of the team sponsors. Of course, IWC is an official partner of Mercedes Formula 1 team, and over the years they have released quite a few of these limited edition watches, whether it's in a partnership with the team itself or with individual drivers like Lewis Hamilton in the past. Now for 2025 season, we have this new IWC Pilot's Watch Mark 20 edition in the Petronas AMG colors. The Mark 20 is a great watch. It's one of these Flieger watches that you can wear if you have a smaller wrist. Usually Flieger watches come in these 46, 47 millimeter case diameters. This one here is 40 millimeter diameter by about 10.6 millimeters in case height. Unlike the standard Mark 20, this one is made out of grade 5 titanium, and it features this sandblasted case finish, which I think works really well with this design. It still comes with 100 meters of water resistance, and this one is powered by the IWC caliber 32111. It's an in-house caliber movement that beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It has 120 hours of power reserve, and by all accounts, it's a really good solid movement with pretty respectable accuracy. Personally, I'm a big fan of releases like this because the standard Mark 20 still exists on the market and it's available in a few different color variations. So if you don't like this watch, you can still buy one of the standard ones. But if you like this watch, but you're not necessarily a fan of Mercedes, you can still buy a watch like this because the Mercedes logo is only featured on the case back. It's not plastered all over the strap. It's not plastered all over the dial, which again, in my opinion, works really well for watches like this because it should appeal to a wider audience. In terms of the pricing and availability, this surprisingly is not a limited edition watch, so it is added to the standard catalog, and these watches are priced at about $6,100 USD. The new Oris ProPilot 10, the Miss Piggy Special Edition. Okay, so this watch is kind of a continuation of the Muppets show and Oris partnership. I know it's a very strange partnership, right? Who would have thought that those two would be partnering up, but here we are. So the first watch came out, I believe, 2023, and it was this Pilot Pro, the Kermit Special Edition with the stark green dial, as well as the Kermit face for one of the dates. I believe it was the first of the month. It's a really fun watch, and I personally have seen a few people out in the wild wearing these watches, which is kind of cool. And also these watches are super easy to spot because of that neon, almost neon green dial. It stands out from across the room. Well, now for 2025, we have this special edition with Miss Piggy instead of Kermit. Now, they did change quite a few things about this release as opposed to the Kermit release. So the Kermit one, I guess, was targeting men with its larger 39 millimeter case diameter. This watch here is quite a bit smaller. It's about 34 millimeters in diameter. So clearly this one is targeting the female demographic. It still comes with 100 meters of water resistance, but this one is not powered by the caliber 4000 movement like the Kermit was. This one is powered by the Oris 531, which is essentially a Sellita SW100. It's a high beat movement beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it has 42 hours of power reserve. The one spot where you can see Miss Piggy is actually on the case back. Once the rotor is out of the way, you can see that little window and this cartoon character. The dial is this very bright pink color with applied indexes and the lab-grown diamond at the 12 o'clock position, once again clearly targeting a female demographic. Overall, I think this is an interesting release. I think they would have done better if they made this watch maybe slightly larger, like 36, 37 millimeters. Although this one seems to have a pretty long lug-to-lug distance, so it might wear closer to that 36 millimeter diameter. Either way, I think it's a fun release from Oris, so we'll see how well it does. The new Tissot PR516 automatic chronograph watch. Last year, Tissot released a really special watch, the PR516, with a manual wound movement, and it was actually one of my honorable mentions for one of the best releases of the year. Now this year they have updated the version and in my opinion even improved this version by giving us an automatic chronograph this time with a very attractive color scheme. I'm a big fan of how this watch looks. I really like that silver and blue color combination. The tachymeter is done with the blue color, and each one of the subdials has a blue highlight, which I think looks really sharp. It's a pretty simple design, but for some reason, a lot of watch companies cannot nail down a chronograph. I think Tissot did a fantastic job with this one. It's clean, it's straight to the point, but it still looks quite unique and different. I think this one stands out from a lot of the other watches in the industry. Now, in terms of the dimensions, the case stayed almost the same. It is slightly thicker. It's about 14 millimeters in case height, as opposed to 13.7 like on the last year's release, because that one was manual wound. This one is automatic, but the diameter is the same, 41 mil, and the like-to-like distance is also the same, about 49 millimeters. This one comes with 100 meters of water resistance, and it is in a stainless steel case. Now, this one, as I mentioned, comes powered by an automatic chronograph movement. It's a caliber ETA A05.231, which is essentially a modified Valjoux 7753. It has 27 joules, it beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it comes with about 60 hours of power reserve. One of the best changes to the design of this watch, in my opinion, other than the color combination, is the addition of this new bracelet. I really like how this Jubilee style bracelet looks. Now, of course, Tissot cannot call this a Jubilee style bracelet because I believe it's trademarked by Rolex, so they have to come up with this, 5-link bracelet or whatever they say to describe it, but clearly it's a Jubilee style bracelet with a butterfly clasp, which I think looks really good with this design, and in my opinion, this watch is going to be a great hit for them. What do you think about this design? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Does it appeal to you? Does it not? Do you like it as much as I like it? Because I really like it. And the best part is, this is not a limited edition, so it is part of the standard catalog. These watches are fairly reasonably priced, about 2,150 euro. Which I think is pretty good. And the thing about Tissot watches, over time they do go on sale quite often. They can be found on a gray market at some hefty discounts. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one follows that trend, but probably not right away. We're talking about a couple of years down the line. Overall, really good release. I'm a big fan. The new Seagull split-second chronograph. That's right, you heard that correctly. Seagull, the Chinese watch company, the company that is most famous for manufacturing Seagull movements, is now offering a split-second chronograph complication with their new watch for around 3,500 USD. That is the cheapest split-second chronograph that you can find on the market by far. I think before the cheapest was probably something from IWC or maybe the Sin back in the day, but those watches were around 10,000 USD. This one being around 3,500 is a great deal. Now, a couple of things that I'm not so crazy about. Number one, the design. I think it looks attractive enough, but it kind of looks very generic. If I didn't know that this watch had a split-second chronograph function, I would assume it's just one of these sort of cheap, affordable watches from AliExpress. It just looks very pedestrian. And the case is a bit on the thicker side. It's almost 16 millimeters in case height. The diameter is somewhat reasonable, 42.5 millimeters. I understand that this watch has to be thicker because they had to add this split-second chronograph module to the existing ST movement. So that's why it is sort of a bit on the thicker side. This watch also comes with 50 meters of water resistance. It comes in a polished and brushed titanium case, so this one is not stainless steel. I wonder why they chose titanium, probably because it makes the watch a little bit lighter. And this one is powered by the new caliber ST1961, which, as I mentioned, is a modified ST19 movement that beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It has 27 joules and about 45 hours of power reserve. Now, this watch is a bit of a trial run. It's going to be limited to about 500 pieces. And as I mentioned a few times already, it's priced at 3,500 USD. What do you think about this release? Is it a hit? Is it a miss? Leave your comments below. The new Panerai Luminor PAM 01628. Panerai is one of these watch companies that I love from a distance. I really like these watches, but I just don't see myself ever owning one. So that's why I say love from a distance. And in the last probably 5-6 years, they had a lot of these hit or misses. One of their watches was on my best releases of the year video, and if I did worst releases of the year video, there would be another watch from them on that list. So they're just kind of all over the place. I think now they're starting to find their groove again. They're coming back to larger watches, and they're sort of releasing the watches that their fan base wants. Like, for example, this one features all the hallmarks of a Panerai. It comes in your very standard Luminor case. It's very large, 47mm diameter by about 15.1 millimeters in case height. It features a sandwich construction to the dial. It has this sort of grainy finish as well as a patinaed look to the lume. All of that looks great. This one is powered by the caliber P3000, which is an in-house mechanical hand-wound movement that looks gorgeous, and you can admire it through the case back. It comes with 3-day power reserve or 72 hours. It beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour and has 21 joules. Now, the thing that I'm not a huge fan of about this watch, and it's not the size, it's actually the pricing of it. It's priced at 10,700 euro. In my opinion, that's quite a bit of money, especially for this type of watch with this movement. They have an 8-day power reserve watch available for less money. We're talking 3,500 euro less. And it also comes with 300 meters of water resistance. Now, that one doesn't come with the display case back, but I think you can sort of look past it for $3,500. So even though I am sort of a fan of this watch, I think the price tag is just a bit too high. The new Cimier 711 Heritage Chronograph Pop collection. So last year in 2024, Cimier has given us the 711 Heritage Chronograph collection with some very conservative dial colors. This year for 2025, they're expanding the same collection with 4 new dial colors that really pop. That's why I guess this collection is called Pop collection. Out of the 4, my favorite is probably this pink one. Surprisingly, I'm not a huge fan of pink dials, but I think on this watch it really works. Now, as far as the case and the dimensions, these watches are still about the same as the last year's release. 39.5mm diameter by about 14.5mm in case height. They come in stainless steel cases with 100 meters of water resistance. These ones are automatic chronos powered by the Cimier caliber CIM100, which is essentially a modified Valjoux 7750. It beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It has 48 hours of power reserve and about 25 joules. These watches are fairly well priced. They will not be a limited edition. They're part of the standard catalog, and they're priced around 2,500 Swiss francs. And that's it for this week's watch releases. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps out quite a bit. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what watches stood out to you personally. I always enjoy reading your comments. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.